The Baker administration is funding 26 new programs to help people with both substance abuse and mental health disorders. The Mental Health Association of Western Mass will operate 3 residential programs, and the first one has opened in Springfield. According to state statistics, the risk of opioid overdose deaths are higher among those who have also had a mental health disorder. Carolee McGrath sat down with Christine Palmieri, MHA's Vice President of Recovery and Housing, and Marcus Garner, a program supervisor, to learn more.
So this is a 14-bed residential program that's going to work with adult men who have an experience of a mental health diagnosis and addiction.
Okay, tell me a little bit about the mental health diagnosis that people will be coming in with.
Sure. So it could be anything from anxiety and depression to bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. As a result of their diagnosis, people are eligible for the program if their experience of symptoms has impeded their ability to really be successful in the community. It may have resulted in psychiatric hospitalization or a number of recent emergency room visits, or it could mean that people have had trouble being successful in other treatment programs.
Okay, and is this a unique way, to help, people in this situation?
I wouldn't say it's a unique way, but it is an infusion of a lot of beds that are specifically integrated. It's a way to provide services under the same roof for people who experience mental health conditions and addiction at the same time. And it's not new, but it is definitely the preferred way to work with people who experience both.
And how long is the program when they initially sign up or are referred to you?
They initially come in for 90 days. If their stay is extended, then it needs to be done through the insurance company.
The work that you do is difficult, right?
Yes, it is.
The program is called GRIT, and obviously this work is really hard, to stay clean and sober on top of, dealing with a mental health diagnosis. What does it mean to you when you see somebody make that progress that perhaps other people said, forget it, they're done, I'm going to wash my hands?
Very proud of them, to watch the guys come in, seeing where they came from and where they're going. I'm very proud of them.
Talk a little bit more about the whole title of the program,
Sure.
which is GRIT.
Grit.
It's lifelong, right, recovery?
It is. It's a lifelong process, and as we were thinking about what we wanted to call the program, I think the team was really committed to making it clear that it takes a lot of work, as you described. It takes dedication, it takes determination, it takes a willingness to do things a little bit differently and things that are hard. It takes grit.
So the Department of Health is funding 26 programs throughout the state,
Right.
which are similar.
Yes.
But I know in addition to this, you will be running 2 other programs besides GRIT.
Right.
How does this kind of fit into the whole need for additional treatment beds as we look at the opioid crisis? And
Right.
there's been a cry for that for a long time, to have more treatment beds available.
Right. So these 26 programs are an infusion of over 400 beds that didn't exist last year, which is critically important. And the fact that these are integrated programs that are designed to have a multidisciplinary team who are experts in both mental health conditions and in substance abuse under the same roof, it's really a step in the right direction.
So how many beds will you be operating approximately in Western Mass?
Sure. We have about 45 new beds.
Okay.
Yep.
And the connection between substance abuse and a mental health diagnosis, can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. It's a very complicated relationship. I think that the statistic is anywhere from 25 to 30% of people who have a serious mental health condition also experience addiction. And people who experience addiction, it's also a very high prevalence of mental health conditions. So I think people often use substances as a way to cope with symptoms of a mental health diagnosis. I also think that people who experience addiction are more likely to develop symptoms of depression and anxiety. So it's a very, very complicated relationship, which is why I think it's critically important that both of these conditions can be addressed by the same treatment team, by a prescriber who's well-versed in working with both conditions.
So what happens, Marcus, at the end of the 90-day treatments? Do people go back to their families, or are they going into a different housing facility?
Depending on what they've identified as their needs when they came in, will depend on exactly where they're going. Most people are in need of sober housing, and so we will try and get them connected. Some people will be reintegrated back into the community. They will go back to their families.
And let's talk about going back to their families for a minute, because sometimes, families are as supportive as they can be. They love that individual, but they've been hurt at the same time. So the person who comes out, 3 months later and they're sober and they're they want to make those connections and those relationships. Sometimes family members might not be willing to take that chance again. Sure. How do you help families be part of the treatment, especially families who feel like, you know what, I got to wash my hands of this person?
Absolutely. So a couple things. I think that discharge planning starts the day that the person walks in the door for us. And that is really important, to create a plan for sustainability once people leave. And if family is part of that process, then we invite the families to come into the treatment program and be part of the process of healing. Every plan is going to be different for every person that we meet. And for some people, family reunification is a realistic and important goal, and for others it's not. So the most important thing is that our services are tailored to meet the needs of each man that we work with. Family involvement is something that family involvement is something that we try to prioritize, but we also want to speak to the individual needs.
Do you think that all of these men will be able to reunite with their families?
It's not realistic to believe that that everybody is going back to their family. People have burned many bridges, and I caution them that just because they have come into the program, you've got 6 to 9 months clean time under your belt, that your family still may not accept you, and you have to accept that. Because in the past, you have done this several times and, they bought in and you did the same thing again.
Do you believe that we have made progress in the opioid crisis?
I do believe that we have made progress during the opioid crisis because right now we're opening up several facilities to combat that. And so we may not be able to see it right here today, but here in the near future, I believe we will be able to see it.
Typical day. So somebody comes into your treatment program. I know it's about 90 days is the set amount of time. What's the routine like?
The routine, get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. At that point, in between 7 and 9, you have breakfast, you take your medication. From there, we go into a morning meeting, and then we start with our groups. We run at least 3 groups per day. With the groups being ran all day, you also have individual counseling. You have some people that's taking care of business outside as far as like housing. There's a lot going on throughout the day. It's a very structured day.
Do you believe that once they get through this program and they receive the proper treatment, obviously the title of the program is GRIT, but that there's real hope that they can sustain their sobriety?
Absolutely. I believe in every person that comes through the program that they can make this. They just got to want to do it.